If you're watching this video, I suppose you could be contemplating on traveling to a new country, a new place for leisure purposes, economic purposes. Could be your country where you are, they're fighting and you feel like you have to move with your family or alone for security purposes. You are at the right place, because here we're going to go through some of those things that can be very important before you make a step. Sweden as a country, it's the 5th largest in Europe, but apparently one of the countries which are least populated per square kilometer. Did you also know that Sweden is one of the major powerhouses in the world, basically, with big companies like Ericsson, Saab, IKEA, and also they've been very, very important when it comes to discovering things that help humanity. In this case, we're thinking about the pacemaker, which has saved a lot of life. Dynamite, which we see in all these construction sites. Tetra Pak, you definitely drink tea at home, and you know all this packing with the milk and all that. So these are very positive things. Sweden, the Swedes are also known for something they call fika. Fika, that's more like coffee breaks. But in this situation, it's so much that it's been engraved in the culture, where 2 times in a day we have coffee break, and during this time it's meeting with different workmates where we have a small talk, take up a cup of coffee, and the good part is maybe just there you actually solve some of the problems that you have at work. It's a pleasure to have you on my channel. This is Hustle a Day, and in this video we're going to go through some of the factors that you need to consider before moving to Europe, the US, or abroad generally. Sweden is our focus, so welcome. Kenyan coffee, the best in the world. Summer bunnies. Yes, you heard me right. Sweden is a very cold place, and it has 2 extreme climate seasons, which is winter and there's summer. Our winters start at around September, and it goes all the way to maybe March if you're lucky. The northern part, which stretches into the Arctic Circle, it's much colder. They do get up to minus 40 or 50. And then as you move down, it gets warmer towards now Denmark or Malmö, which is a city down south. Sorry. Stockholm is sandwiched in the middle. So thanks to the Gulf Stream, which blows through the country and makes Sweden have a mild, temperate type of climate. So the winters are really cold, and for summer buddies, stop it. It could be the wrong place for you. The second one is the idea of loneliness. And as a matter of fact, Sweden tops the list among the countries in the world that are most lonely. So forget about all that beauty that we just went through, but when it comes to lonely, you can get lonely. Usually they say that loneliness, you can always try to do something when but this comes from different reasons. And apparently in November, December, according to the Central Bureau of Statistics, that's when they have most suicide cases. Because it's dark, it's cold, and it's lonely. So if you ever think of coming to Europe and in our case Sweden, count that on your bucket list. You're gonna be lonely. This can be attributed to a couple of things. During winter, it gets dark in the northern part. They have darkness 24 hours. Then as you come down, the days get shorter and shorter and shorter. November, December, it's dark. Where the sun goes up at about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, it's already dark. So you're going to work, it's dark. You're coming back home, it's dark. So just have it in your mind. The idea of maybe the Swedish culture, whereby Swedish as a group, they are quite reserved people. So that makes it quite hard to break the ice and become friends. They're more cautious before they become friends as a group of people. And this sort of affects the whole society, whereby when you come to the train, people are concentrating on their mobile phones, they're quiet. It's rarely you see people breaking ice and saying hello. It's all and especially when you come from these tropical countries, Africa, Asia, South America, we're used to live in a society where we talk to one another, we mingle with one another. It's much more easier to break the ice. Here, it's a little bit different. You come to the US, you're sitting on the train, and these Americans, they come and say, "Hello, what's up? Where are you heading to?" So a lot of these things contribute to the fact that it gets very, very lonely, and with time, as a new person, when you come from these places, you'll feel it direct, and you may just say, "Oh my God." So I'm not scaring you, I'm not scaring you at all. No, that's not what I'm here. I'm here to educate you. So it's good to be mentally prepared to know a little bit about these things, because then you end up making right decisions. The idea of jobs. Yeah, you heard me right. It's very, very hard to get a job in Sweden. And I repeat, it can be extremely hard to get a job in Sweden, and especially if you're coming from abroad. This is because of the fact that the education is obligatory, so all the kids get a chance to go to school. It doesn't matter who. Maybe a kid has a problem with his health. He could be handicapped, maybe he's deaf, he's blind, or maybe, many things can make somebody, in the usual case, not go to school. But here, they've got all these institutions which take care of handicapped kids and all that. So by the end of the day, everybody is educated. The population is literate. And therefore, jobs become very competitive. So that sort of makes it very hard for foreigners to come into the job market. But there are also some situations where maybe an employee can say, "I'm looking for special skills." In that sense, it's easier for you if you have those special skills that this employer is looking for, then there's a very, very high chance that you'll get a visa. But there's a catch on that. The government requires this person to prove to them that there's no such skill around. One of the requirements is he has to put the announcement on the newspaper and look for this special type of skill. So you understand how it works. The government really has taken measures to secure job for its citizens and the local jobs. But if you get a job, then they're good. They pay well. There's also the idea of language. Because you go to a place, you have to be able to communicate with your workers. You have to be able to write a report. You should be able to understand what's on paper. You need that language to to be able to do the job. If you don't have that communication tool, then it doesn't work. So Swedish language becomes very, very important. But we shall talk about it a little bit later. Sweden is one of the most expensive countries to live in the world. Yes, you heard me right. So don't come here when you don't have money. It won't work. And this is based on the fact that we talked a little bit about the weather. And the weather makes it very hard to grow such basics like foodstuffs, tomatoes, fruits, mentioned, all these foods. So by the end of the day, they are forced to import a lot of foodstuffs. They are imported in the country. They're good when it comes to technology, but when it comes to agriculture, maybe 95% is imported. I don't know exactly how much, but a lot of it has to be imported. Our tax is also very high. The government has invested so much on the community, which makes it quite expensive, and so by the end of the day, they have to collect all these increased taxes, maybe collect all the taxes. You know how the mechanism works. The good part is that the society is functional. The roads are good, hospital is free, school is free, everything is tip-top. Sweden is beautiful. It's a beautiful country. You will love it. But that comes with a price. You have to pay for it. Nothing comes for free. So if that's your expectation that everything will work and the way you want it, stop it. You have to work for it. Be prepared for that. So we talked a little bit about this job and all that. So the next point that I would love to take up is the idea of language barrier. As an English speaker, basically you're going to have a little bit easy time, because most of the Swedes, they do understand, they don't speak, but they do understand English. So you have an advantage in that sense. But then when you come from abroad, you need to get your life moving. You need to get a job, you need to go to the bank, you may need to go to the hospital, you need to build some sort of network, all these things, all these mechanisms. And in those places, it's not English which works. You need Swedish language. If I was to take an example of myself, I did go. It took me 2 years before I started to get a grasp of the Swedish language, what's happening. At least for those 2 years, I was I was away. I didn't understand anything. No newspapers, no TV, no nothing. But I was in the country. And then after 2 years going to school, and this was full time, I started to grasp the local language. And then thereafter, because I needed to go and do nursing, so I had to go a further 2 years to be able to be taken for this course. So it took me 4 years. And at the same time, you have to also be very active in trying to speak in the language, making mistakes. But I think by the end of the day, the most important thing is that you're able to understand what I'm saying. The Swedes know that Swedish is not the first language for all foreigners in the country. So somehow you get that massive odds. Well, I hope I'm not scaring you. But if language is your thing, then you're safe in that sense. If it's not your thing, stop. Language is the key to get a job. Language is the key to everything. When I take my flight, when I'm going abroad and I sit on the flight, that time it's English. My English becomes my key. When I take on the flight back to Sweden, I land at the airport, I forget my English and Swedish takes over. So that's how it works. Then when I land in Kenya, because I come from Kenya, Swahili. So language is the key. You need it. This is your boy, Hustle a Day. Please give us a like, do subscribe, and until next time, good luck with your endeavors. I hope this video did help you.